Question 1 says write the numbers 6 million and 30 in figures. So a million has 6 digits. So 6 million, so 3, and then lastly 30. So 6 million and 30 in figures. Then says write 7.896 correct to 2 decimal places. So the second decimal place is 9. So we round 9 based on the third decimal place, which is 6. So since it's bigger than 5, which means 9 gets rounded up. So 9 becomes a 10, which means a carry a 1 to 8. So 8 becomes a 9. So 7.90. Then it says from the list of numbers, write down a multiple of 16. Of 16 that we can see over here is 48, because 16 times 3 is 48. Factor of 24 is 24 or 8. Either of them will get you a mark. A cube number, that is 8, because 2 cube is 8. And then lastly, a prime number. So the prime number can be 41. That's a prime number. Then it says put one pair of brackets into this calculation to make it correct. So if we put a bracket around 10 minus 12, that gives us -2. So -2 divided by 4 plus 2. -2 divided by 4 is -1/2. And then plus 2 we can see is not equal to 8. So that means this won't work. If you put a bracket around 12 and 4, that's 10 minus 3 plus 2. 10 minus 3 is 7. 7 plus 2 is 9. Doesn't work again. If you put a bracket around 4 plus 2, it's 10 minus 12 divided by 6. 12 divided by 6 is 2. 10 minus 2 is 8, which means yes. This is where the brackets are going to come. Then it says by writing each number in the calculation correct to one significant figure, find an estimate for the value of this. So 596 correct to one significant figure is 600. 0.047 is 0.05. 8.65 is 9. So 600 times 0.05 is basically 30. And root 9 is 3. So the answer is 10. Then it says calculate 8 times 10 to the power of 6 times 3 times 10 to the power of negative 2, giving your answer in standard form. So we can do 8 times 3, and then the 10 powers get multiplied to each other. So 8 times 3 is 24. And as you know, in like the rules of indices, when we have the same bases being multiplied, which in this case is the base of 10, we add the powers. So 10 to the power of 6 minus 2, which is 24 times 10 to the power of 4. Now you might think this is the standard form. No, it's not. In standard form, your decimal comes after the first non-zero digit, which means we assume that there's a decimal over here. Why? Because every whole number has a decimal at its end, whether we write it or not. So we move this decimal one place towards the left-hand side, which makes it 2.4 now. And over here, the power increases by 1. When you're going to expand this and turn this into ordinary form, you're going to multiply 10 to the power of 5 with it. So that becomes 2, 4, and then 4 zeros, like 240,000. But with 2.4 times 10 to the power 4, that's not going to be the case. Then we're going to have 3 zeros. So it's 2.4 times 10 to the power of 5. Then it says 216 equals to 2 cubed times 3 cubed. Write 2160 as a product of its prime factors. So if we compare 2160 and 216, The only difference is that this is being multiplied by 10, which means the 216 can be replaced by 2 cube times 3 cube. So 2 cube times 3 cube, and 10 is 5 times 2. So now this and this are same base. So we can add the powers. So it's 2 to the power of 4 times 3 cube and 5. So that's your answer. Just combine the similar base. Question 2 says in the figure, in the diagram, BCG is a triangle. ABCD and EF are parallel lines. Find the value of x, give a geometrical reason for your answer. So this is x. Since these two are parallel lines, 38 and x are equal. Why? Because alternate angles are equal. Then find the value of y. So for y and 69 are equal because corresponding angles are equal. Then for z, first thing, this would be 38. Why? Because these two are vertically opposite angles, and vertically opposite angles are always equal. Since we said this is 69, this can be found by doing 180 minus 69, which gives us a value of 111. So if this is 111, this is a triangle. If we highlight this, that's a triangle. And sum of angles in a triangle equals to 180. So that means z would be 180 minus 111 minus 38. And that gives us 31 degrees. So that's the value of z. Part B says R, S, and T are points on a circle center O. Line XY touches the circle at T. Write on the mathematical name for the line XY. XY is called a tangent. A tangent will never cross the circle. It will always touch the circle at its circumference. Then write on the mathematical name for the line SR. SR is called a chord. Toby thinks shape RST is a right angle triangle. Give a geometrical reason why Toby is incorrect. Now, for RST to be a right angle triangle, one of the lengths needs to be the diameter. And as you can see, ST is underneath the, center. And SR and RT are also nowhere close to being the diameter. They're on the boundary. So one of the lengths has to be the diameter. Question 3 says Jack does a survey about cycling. The bar chart shows the percentage of people in each age group who use a bicycle. Write on the percentage of people aged 60 to 69 who use a bicycle. So for 60 to 69, that's 30%. Then it says 980 people in the survey are in the 30 to 39 age group. Work out how many of these people use a bicycle. So if there are 980 people in that age group, the percentage of people who use a bike are 40%. So we do 40 over 100 times 980, and that gives us 392. So 392 people use a bike. Jack makes 18 cycling trips in 1 year. Each cycling trip lasts 23 minutes. Find the total time Jack spent cycling in this year, giving your answer in hours and minutes. So if he's making 18 cycling trips in 1 year and one cycling trip lasts 23 minutes. So if we do 18 minus 23, that is going to give us 414 minutes. So they want the time in hours and minutes. 6 times 60 is 360. And 1 hour has 60 minutes. So if we take 6 hours, 6 hours equal to 360 minutes. So if we do 414 minus 360, that leaves us with 54 minutes. So that means in hours and minutes, it's going to be 6 hours and 54 minutes. We're breaking 414 down into hours and minutes. So 6 hours, 54 minutes. Yeah. Part C, so the table shows where 240 people cycle the most. So we have the roads, cycle paths, parks, and others. They want us to complete the table. So to find the angle for each, section in the pie chart, we will do 72 divided by the total number 240 times that by the angle of a circle, which is 360. And that gives us the angle for each, all of them. So for the first one, it's going to be 108. Then for the second one, that's going to give us 72. And for the third one, that's going to give us 54. These are the angles. It says complete the pie chart to show this information. So to show this information, I'm going to show you how to draw the angles for each of the sectors that we just found. So this is a pie chart and we're going to draw all of the other angles. So this is the 126 degrees that's given in the question. So using the protractor, we're going to draw the 108 over here. Over here. This is the 108. Now we need to draw the 72 and 54. 72 is going to be over here. So this is our pie chart, 72 degrees, and this would be 54 degrees. So you can label these as well. Obviously, this is how you draw a pie chart to give information. Then it says a bicycle costs $720. Carlo pays 1/5 of the cost as a deposit. He pays the rest of the money in equal monthly payments of $16. Work out how many monthly payments Carlo makes. So first, let's find the deposit. That's 1/5 of your cost. That equals $144. Now rest of the money is being paid in equal monthly payments. So remaining amount, that's 720 minus 144, and that gives us $576. So month, or like the monthly payments, that's going to be this divided by 16, and that gives us 36. So 36 is your final answer. Question 4 says a parallelogram ABCD has sides 8 centimeters and 6 centimeters. Lines AB and BC have been drawn. By constructing triangle ACD, complete the parallelogram, use the ruler and compasses only, and leave in your construction arcs. So we're basically going to replicate this triangle on the right-hand side as well. So for that, let me go to the website and show you how to construct this. So what we're going to do is that we're going to replicate this thing, like I said, on the right-hand side. So we're going to open our compass to 6 centimeters. Put this over here. 6 centimeters. Yep. So then we're going to put it over here and draw a 6 centimeter arc over here. Now, we're going to open this to 8 centimeters. Put this over here and draw another arc. Yep. So now the intersection is going to show us point D. And as you can see, it's 8 centimeters. Similarly over here, just going to connect this. And yeah, so this is a parallelogram. This is point D. These are your arcs, and yep. Then in part B, it's saying describe fully the single transformation that maps shape A onto shape B. So we can see that the size of the shape is exactly the same, so is the direction, which means it's a translation. So for shape A onto shape B, we need to first highlight two corresponding points and then see how that coordinate has changed. Now this is 1, 4, and this over here is -5 and 6, which means to go from 1 to -5, we're subtracting 6, and to go from 4 to 6, we're adding 2. So that shows that we're facing a translation by vector, -6, 2. Then it says on the grid, draw the image of shape A after rotation of 90 degrees clockwise, 90 degrees anti-clockwise, center 5, 1. So center 5, 1 is over here and it's 90 degrees anti-clockwise. So what we're going to do now is we're going to move the shape in this direction. So this point will stay the same. Now if you look at this point, this is 1, 2, 3, 4 horizontally. So that's going to be 4 vertically. So 1, 2, 3, 4, this. This will be this. I think it's quite simple. This is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is going to be our shape. 5, 1. Then we have 5, -3. Then we have 2, -3, 2, -1, 4, -1, and 4, 1. So this is our shape after 90-degree rotation, the anti-clockwise direction. Then says the scatter diagram shows the distance traveled and the cost for each of 12 taxi journeys. The scatter diagram shows positive correlation. Is the statement true or false? The statement is true because we can see that as the distance is increasing, so is the cost for each travel. As the distance increases, so does the cost of the journey. On one journey, the cost per kilometer travel was much more expensive than on all of the other journeys. Draw a ring around this point on the scatter diagram. So the odd one out over here is this one. Why? Because on the same journeys, for these, it's like $5. It's like somewhere like 6, 7, but for this it's $15. So the cost shows a significant increase. So this is the odd one out. Then it says draw a line of best fit on the scatter diagram. So for the line of best fit, we're going to pick that set of points that gives an equal number of points above and below the line. So if you pick this, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 points above, 1, 2, 3, 5 below. I think that's fair enough, yeah. That's the closest because if we pick any other line, let's say this, or like this, no, yeah, so the first one was right. This would be my line of best fit. Another journey is 8 kilometers long. Use your line of best fit to find an estimate for the cost of this journey. So 8 kilometers long. That's 19.5. Then Arid, Luke, and Marie share the cost of a taxi journey. The cost is $26.40. Calculate how much Arid pays if they share the cost equally. So if they're sharing it equally, then we just divide the cost by 3. And that leaves us with $8.8. Then they decide to share the cost in proportion to the distance they each travel in the taxi. Arif travels 12 kilometers, Luke travels 3 kilometers, and Marie travels 7.5 kilometers. Write the ratio 12:3:7.5 in its simplest form. So 12 can be divided by 3, 3 can be divided by 3, and 7.5 can be divided by 3. That gives us 4:1:2.5. Now to get rid of decimal, we can times all of these by 10. So that's 40 ratio 10 ratio 25, which can be simplified by dividing by 5, and that gives 8:2:5. That is our final answer. Divide these by 5. Then calculate how much more Arif pays than if they shared the cost equally. So for his cost right now, it'll be 8/15 times 26.40, which gives us $14.08. So if we compare the cost, your difference is going to be 14.08 minus 8.8, and that leaves us with $5.28. That's your answer. Then it says Jin invests some money from his taxi company. He invests $18,600 at a rate of 1.7% per year compound interest. Calculate the value of the investment at the end of 6 years. So it's compound interest. So the formula for that is P times 1 plus R over 100 to the power of T. Principal amount is 18,600 times 1 plus 1.7 over 100, which is the rate, to the power of 6, which is our time period. So when you plug that in the calculator, what you should get is 20,579.68. Since they want the answer to the nearest dollar, so that rounds up to 20,580. That is the final answer. Question 6 says this is a recipe to make ice cream for 6 people. 270 ml cream, 270 ml milk, 100 grams of sugar, 4 egg yolks. Tom makes ice cream for 10 people. Work out how much milk he uses. So if for 6 people, he's using 270 ml of milk. For one person, it's going to be 270 divided by 6. And then for 10 people, it's going to be 270 divided by 6 times 10, which will give us the answer of 450 ml. Then it says the mass of all the ingredients Tom uses is 1,100 grams. After Tom heats the mixture, the mass reduces by 15%. Find the mass of the mixture after heating. So if it's reduced by 15%, that means whatever is left is 85% of the initial mass. So 1100 times 85 over 100, and that gives us 935 grams. An alternative method is you find 15% of 1100 and then you subtract that amount from 1100 to get the new mass. Either way, it's correct. Then Tom lets the mixture cool to 5 degrees Celsius. He then puts it in a freezer to cool to negative 18 degrees Celsius. Find the difference in these temperatures. So it's going to be 5 minus negative 18, and that gives us 23 degrees Celsius. In a factory, a machine fills 25,920 tubs of ice cream in 8 hours. Work out the number of tubs the machine fills in 1 minute. So 8 hours is basically equals to 8 times 60, which is 480 minutes. So if for 80 minutes we're taking 25,920 tubs, for 1 minute it's going to be 25,920 divided by 480, and that leaves us with 54 tubs. So remember, when you're dealing with the same measurement like time or like weight or whatever, if the units are different, convert them into the same units and then start solving the question to make the calculation more accurate. Next part says a pack of ice cream contains 6 tubs. There are 120 packs on a tray and there are 24 trays on a truck. Work out how many tubs of ice cream are on the truck. So if one pack has 6 tubs, 120 packs will have 120 times 6. Then you times it by 24 because one tray has 120 packs. Multiply all three, and what we get is 17,280. Then it says Mario sells ice cream in 5 flavors. The table shows the relative frequency of some of the ice cream flavors Mario sells. Mario sells 3 times as many chocolate ice cream as banana ice cream. So if this is x, this would be 3x. So we know the sum of these relative frequencies would be 1. So 1 equals to 0.34 plus 3x plus 0.18 plus 0.12 and plus x. X being the relative frequency for selling banana flavor and thrice of that is for chocolate. So when we add the decimals up, that gives us 0.64 and 3x plus x is 4x. Then we do 1 minus 0.64 equals to 4x, which is 0.3x equals to 4x. And when we divide the two, we get 0.09. So that means this is 0.09 and this one would be thrice of it, so that's 0.27. This was 3x. Then says one week Mario sells 450 ice creams. Find how many strawberry ice creams he expects to sell. So you multiply the relative frequency by the number of times he's selling the ice cream, and that will give us 81. So he sells it 81 times. Then it says the probability that any customer is an adult is 0.7. So we have a tree diagram and they want us to complete the tree diagram first. So if the probability of the person, the customer being an adult is 0.7, so for the customer to be a child is going to be 1 minus 0.7, which is 0.3. So the same logic applies over here since the probability is not changing, it's the same thing happening. So 0.3 over here and 0.3 over here as well. Then it says find the probability that the first 2 customers are adults. So that means we're going from here to here and then here. So when you're going along the branches, you multiply the probabilities. If it's across the branches, you add them. So 0.49. Question 7 says, find the perimeter of the triangle. So perimeter is the boundary of the shape. So that means we're going to add up the given lengths. And that's going to be 21 centimeters. Then it says the diagram shows a shape made from rectangles. This is like a compound shape. And they want us to calculate the area of the shape. So if I split the shape into 2 parts, So this is A and this is B. So area of A is going to be 18.6 times 4, the length times the width, which is equal to 74.4 centimeters square. And then area of B, now we know that this entire length is 13.5. So for this part, we can do 13.5 minus 4, which equals to 9.5. Similarly, for this, we know that the entire length is 18.6. So if we subtract this 7s from 18.6, that gives us 4.6. So this is 4.6 cm and this is 9.5 cm. So we do 4.6 times 9.5, and that leaves us with 43.7 centimeters square. Now for the total area, you will just add the area of A and B. So 74.4 plus 43.7, and that leaves us with 118.1 centimeters square. Once again, split the composite shape or the compound shape, whatever you call it, into rectangles or shapes that you know how to find the area for. And then find the missing lengths if there are any. And then use those to find the area separately and then add them up for the entire shape. Then part C says the diagram shows a right angle triangle ABC. Calculate the area of the triangle. So for the area of a triangle, what we need is the base and the height. This is our base, and the height is always the perpendicular height, never the slant height. This is not what we need. We need the perpendicular height. So this and this. So we don't have the perpendicular height. However, we have the other two measurements. So using Pythagoras, we can find the third length. So BC square, which is the hypotenuse, equals to the sum of the square of AB and AC. So that means 27.2 squared equals to AB squared plus 24 squared. So 27.2 squared minus 24 squared whole square gives us the value of AB, and that's going to be 12.8 centimeters. Now this is the measurement for our perpendicular height. So for the area, the formula is 1 over 2 times base times height. So that's 1 over 2 times 24 times 12.8. And that gives us the value of 153.6 centimeters square. So remember, always find the perpendicular height first and then use that in the formula. Whether it's the formula for the trapezium, the parallelogram, any 2D shape, you will always need the perpendicular height, not the slant height. Then part D says calculate the volume of the sphere with the diameter of 5.25 centimeters. So if the diameter is 5.25, radius would be half of the diameter. So that equals to 2.625 centimeters. Volume would be 4 over 3 pi r cubed. So they've already given the formula. So 3 pi times 2.625 cube. And that would give us the value of 75.8 centimeter cube. That's your answer. Question 8 says that the diagram shows the net of a solid. Write on the mathematical name of the solid. So since the shape has unequal, lengths, that shows that it's a cuboid. If it had equal lengths, you could call it a cube. Then it says find the volume of the solid when x is 4. So if this is 4 and this is 4, so volume is length times width times height. So that's 10 times 4 times 4, and that's 160 centimeter cube. Write down an expression in terms of x for the volume of the solid. So like I said, it's length times width times height. So that's 10 times x, which is 10x squared. Then find the value of x when the volume of the solid is 360. So 360 equals to 10x squared. 360 divided by 10 is x squared. 36. Take the square root on both sides, and we get 6 centimeters as the value of x. Part B says that complete the table of values for y equals to 2x squared plus x. So they've given us the values of x and they want us to find the corresponding y values. Substitute them in the equation. Y equals to 2 times 3 squared plus 3, which is 18 plus 3, and that's 21. So that's the first one. Then y equals to 2 times 4 squared plus 4. That's 16 times 2, 32 plus 4, and that's 36. And lastly, y equals to 2 times 5 squared plus 5. 25 times 2 is 50. 50 plus 5 is 55. So these are the values of y. Then they want us to draw the graph of this equation using the table of values. Okay. 0, 0, 1, 3, 2, 10, tiny. 321. Mm. 436. And then 555. Now we connect the points. Yeah, that is the neatest thing I can draw at the moment. But this is our graph. Then use a graph to solve the equation 2x squared plus x equals to 30, which means they want us to draw a line at y equals to 30 and then find the corresponding x value at that point. I think I'm getting something around 3.7. Wait. Yeah, like 3.65 or 3.65 actually. Yep, approximately that. Then question 9 says Samir leaves home at 2 p.m. He jogs 6 kilometers to a cafe at a constant speed of 8 kilometers per hour. He stops to rest for 1 hour. He then walks back home at a constant speed and arrives at 4:36 p.m. On the grid, draw a travel graph to show Samir's whole journey. So if he's traveling at a constant speed of 8 kilometers per hour, he's jogging for 6 kilometers. 8 equals to 6 over time. So time would be 6 divided by 8, and that is equal to 0.75. So that's 45 minutes. 45 minutes. So that means he stops at the cafe at 2:45. So we need to draw a line at 2:45. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5. That's in the middle. Yep. So this is the line that shows he's leaving from home and going towards the cafe. Then he has a constant speed of 8 kilometers per hour. Then he stops to rest for 1 hour. So till 3:45 he's resting. He's resting till this time, and then he is arriving home at 4:36. If there are 10 divisions between 30 minutes, so each small division is 3 minutes. So this is 4:36. This is when he's arriving home. So this is our graph. Now just calculate Samir's Then it says calculate Samir's average speed for the whole journey. So for the whole journey, we know that this is 6 kilometers over here, and then there's another 6 kilometers over here. No distance covered over here. So we know the total distance is 12 kilometers, okay? Now for the time, we know that 45 minutes over here till this part, and then he's resting for 1 hour, and over here from 3:45 to 4:36. So from 3:45 to 4:36, that's approximately 45, and then we have 6 more, so that's 51 minutes over here. So I'm going to add the 46 minutes, the 60 minutes, and then the 51 minutes. Divide that by 60, that's 2.6. So total time of the journey is, we're going to add all of this time. So 46 minutes, 60 minutes for the hour, and 51 minutes. So that's 157. So if we go down, total time is 46 plus 60 plus 51. That is 157 minutes. So in hours, We divide 157 by 60, and that gives us 2.6 hours. Total distance is going to be 6 kilometers plus 6 kilometers, that's 12 kilometers. So average speed is going to be total distance 12 divided by total time 2.6, and that's 4.62 kilometers per hour. So that's your answer. Then it says solve 4x minus 7 equals to 3. So you make 4x the subject by taking 7 to the other side. So 4x equals to 10, x equals to 10 over 4, and that is going to be 5 over 2, or 2.5. Then simplify x to the power of 6 whole power 2. As we said, whenever there's a power outside the bracket and inside the bracket, we multiply them. So that's going to be x to the power of 6 times 2, which is x to the power of 12. Then in the next one, it says simplify 5x cubed y to the power 4 times 2x squared y squared. We multiply 5 and 2, 5 times 2. Then we combine the bases. So x cubed times x squared times y to the power 4 times y to the power of 2. So similar bases, you add the powers. So 10 times x to the power of 3 plus 2 and y to the power of 4 plus 2, which simplifies to 10 x to the power of 5 and y to the power of 6. Then it says expand and simplify. So for this, we're going to expand the bracket first. Multiply -2 with a and -1. 4a plus 5 minus 2a plus 2. 4a minus 2a is 2a. 5 plus 2 is 7. So 2a plus 7. Now we're going to expand double brackets. So d times d and minus 3. 7 times d and -3. So d times d plus d minus 3 plus 7 times d minus 3. So that's d squared minus 3d plus 7d minus 21. That's d squared plus 4d minus 21. That is our expanded and simplified answer.